Hello everybody, Father Rich here with another Acid Archives. Figured I'd show 5 more. Going through the book, I was kind of surprised that there are some kind of major labels or semi-major labels included in here. I thought it was all like private press stuff, but whatever. First one I'm going to show is Circuit Rider. This is a reissue that a Numero group did. I think 2009. Psyche Derek sent this to me. I mentioned in the first one that I sent him that whatever, that crappy ass hippie jam one. Anyways, I like this a lot. It's off kilter, that's for sure. It's kind of I wouldn't call it folk rock. It reminds me of Terry Reid from The River. You know how like his songs are kind of like a little bit off kilter. They got a funky groove though. Kind of like Tim Buckley. Dare I say Captain Beefheart? Not really, but there's a couple of moments where it's like, oh wow, you know, that's like he's got an interesting voice. There's one song on side 1. It's either the third or fourth song. It sounds like Leonard Skinner, you know, kind of. It starts out, but then it evolves and it's like Leonard Skinner on acid or something, you know. And then the last song on side 1 actually starts out. The music, it sounds like Tangled Up in Blue or whatever, that Bob Dylan song. But it doesn't sound like Bob Dylan. Yeah, I love this album. Psyche Derek didn't do anything for him, so, you know, we switched. And yeah, I'm glad I got this record, man. It's pretty cool. Let's see what the Acid Archive says. Oh, and this is what the label looks like. They did a true reproduction of the original. That doesn't say on the cover or the album Numero anywhere. I think there was a hype sticker maybe. And the dogs are barking. Okay, where is this one? Circuit Rider. It's right here. There's no picture for this one. Now, if you have an original, it's rated a 2 as far as the 1 through 5. 1 being the least rare, the 5 is the rarest. So this is, you know, a 2 isn't. But nowadays a 2 is probably a lot of money. I mean, the price of records have skyrocketed. Anyways, I initially wrote this off as yet another blessed end, but further plays revealed more interesting aspects. I'm not sure who blessed end are. Still goofy in places, but with some truly freaky biker Beefheart late night explorations. I'm kind of reading this weird because it's kind of dark in here and I can barely even see this. The tracks where they break out of their swampy bluesy mood are the best, such as Limousine Ride and Chinese, which project visions of a biker high on PCP driving over a cliff at 100 miles an hour. Laughing and screaming all the way. Songwriting is essentially non-existent, and the same riffs and rhythms are used throughout, which creates some sameness that will grate if you are not in the mood. The Billy the Kid song is a goofy, macho low point, and not unlike Blessed End, and all over this is an LP likely to appeal to some, while others may be puzzled. A late Doors influence can be detected. I don't know about the Doors. Despite what you may have read otherwise, the album was recorded and released in 1980. The old German bootleg has a poor sleeve job. Yeah, this is the book. I have the bookworm one from 2009, and I think they have issued it after that a few times. Now this next one is the id. The Inner Sounds of the Id by the band The Id, which really wasn't a band. It was studio musicians put together, and they recorded this. And I think in the same sessions that Animated Egg was recorded. Jerry Cole, the guitar player, is prominent on this. This is actually pretty good. It doesn't have any what I would call bad songs. Nothing that really stands out, though, and grabs you. The rake it starts off with the rake, and it's kind of weird, but it's not like hippie weird, you know, it's kind of like Squares trying to do weird. And then the other songs are all good, you know. Some of them sound like they could be from one of those exploital soundtracks. The last song, though, Boil the Kettle Mother, that's a pretty weird song, and it's got some really good guitars in it. Side 2 is more of the same until the last song, which is a 10.5-minute song, and it's the Inner Sound of the Id. And it is very heavy with the sitars. And it's got some vocal, kind of like talking vocals, which are kind of annoying. And then at the end, it goes into the rake, which was the opening track. Pretty cool album. I got this not that long ago for very cheap. So I think this one is pretty easy to get. And the reason I said I was kind of surprised these are on, you know, major labels. This is on RCA Victor. And I didn't think anything like on the major labels was included in this book, but it's there. And again, there's no picture for this one. It's Id right here. There's a write-up. There's another one here. It is here, but this is different. I'm going to face this way so I can see the writing. I should have done this earlier, but I was on the road, went to LA and back today. And yeah, this is rated a 1. And that's an original, but it's rated a 1. It should be pretty easy to get. And it has been reissued. A mysterious, ignored album that would have been groundbreaking if anyone paid attention. The Eastern influences and long experimental album closer were unlike just about anything else in 1967. And while they're not wholly successful, this album is interesting at worst, compelling, the craze, Boil the Kettle Mother, one of the greatest garage rockers ever, at best. The Id album was released in May of 1967, but the music for the project had been recorded as early as mid-1966, with studio pros also connected to the infamous custom label Exploitation Sweatshop. Some of the Id backing tracks appear on The Projection Company, Give Me Some Lovin'. I have that, and I think it's the kettle, Boil the Kettle, Grandma or whatever, Ma, without the vocals. And Give Me Some Lovin'. Yeah, that's the one. As well as the well-known Animated Egg and related 101 Strings LPs. Appropriately, the bonus tracks on the WIS reissue are from the Projection Company album. So, pretty good album, you know. It's not mind-bending, but they did a pretty good job. It's better than most exploital records, that's for sure. Now, this next one is a San Francisco band. Neighborhood Children, although they don't spell it correctly. This is a famous shot. I think over here is the curviest road in the world. It's been in many movies. And it's on Atka. Not Atco, but Atka. And this cover is, in both corners, it's kind of like getting chewed away or falling apart. Other than that, though, it's in great shape. The album is in great shape. This is a typical San Francisco psychedelic album. It kind of reminds you of Jefferson Airplane, but not really. Some of the songs are more pop, like radio pop rock songs that you would hear on the radio. And there's a female male vocalist. The female also, she plays organ, and it's like that eerie organ, which doesn't sound anything like Jefferson Airplane. But overall, this is a really good album. There isn't a bad song on it, even though they cover Over the Rainbow. You would think that would be a disaster, and it's actually not that bad. And in the middle of it, there's this psychedelic freak out. And the reason I chose this one is because Dave the Pickup Artist recently showed a reissue. So this has been recently reissued on Sundays. So I do recommend this. Out of the three, I probably recommend this one the most so far. It's not that I don't like the other two, but give it a listen before, because it's a little more nuanced, or some people will like it and some won't. But this is really, if you like psychedelic, 60s psychedelic, I think most people will like this. And let's see what the Acid Archive says. And I think this one, there is a picture. No picture. It's the write-up is right here. It's right next to the Neutral Spirits, the one I featured last week. And this one is a 2. So it's a little harder to find, but it has been reissued. So there you go. Newbies to this likable album will probably learn it from the Sundays reissue, which scrambles the song order. Oh, I didn't know that. Regulates their weird cover of Over the Rainbow, which is the weakest song anyways, to bonus track status, and adds a mishmash of other material of varying quality. In this particular case, the revamped song order makes sense, and the separation of the novelty song also improves the situation. What you end up with is a co-ed 60s pop album with organ and fuzz guitar, and one really freaked out song, which is effectively short. As is usual the case, they'd have been better off with the woman singing all the songs. I kind of agree with that. Not because anything's wrong with the guys, but because she's much less appealing as a backing singer than a lead. That's funny. So they would rather have her sing lead on all of the songs because she's not a good backing. Oh my God. Though this is basically pop, it does rock pretty hard here and there, and it's a few cuts above the average album of this kind. Yankee Dollar and Sapphire Thinkers comparisons are apt, though both of those bands seem to have a more consistent sound, while the Children seem to adjust their songwriting style to the trends of the time and are more experimental. Please Leave Me Alone, the wimpiest and least psychedelic song here, actually comes off to these ears as the best, as it is pure pop with a lovely melody and fresh spirit, untouched by any kind of pretense. The brief minor key ballad, Hobbit's Dream, is also very nice. In addition to the various official releases, there was a 4-track promo EP, and da-da-da-da-da-da. Let me see, where was that song? Yeah, okay. I really like this album. They seem like they kind of like it. It's better than most. And like I said, it's on the ACA label. Oh, haven't had a beer in a number of days. And there's the ACA label. Now this next one is another San Francisco psychedelic band. And this is the Serpent Power. Now this one, maybe a little bit earlier than that Neighborhood Children. I'm not sure. Maybe the same era. This one is a little more folkier. And it's got a husband and wife. I don't know if this is the husband or I don't know. It's one of these three wankers. And there's the wife. She's lovely. She sings great. The dude, David Metzger, is it? I guess he's a famous poet. But I don't think he's as good of a poet as what he thinks he is. So for that reason, his songs are kind of... There's a really long song on side 2, The Endless Tunnel, 13 minutes. And it's okay, but it's not as mind-expanding as the guy thinks it is. You know, it's a tunnel. I'm going down the tunnel. Whatever. It is like a 60s psychedelic album, but it is like folk psych. When they sing together, fantastic. When she sings, fantastic. And this is on Vanguard, another label that is not indie at all. And I know this one has a picture. There it is, right there. I'm going to have trouble reading this. I should have just waited, made this to yesterday or tomorrow. Serpent Power. This is a 1, so this shouldn't be that hard to get. Although the one I bought, which is in near mint condition, is the only one I've ever seen. While all kinds of mediocre rarities are treated to pages of lip service, this fine little LP still remains underappreciated. It's a good early San Francisco album, stripped down folk rock, a la the first Jefferson Airplane, and I would say the first Grateful Dead, with a slightly bohemian vibe and some David Metzger poetry on the back cover. It's not freaky or avant-garde, but more like folksy Bay Area pop. There are a couple of excellent tracks with female vocals on side 1, I agree, while the 13-minute Endless Tunnel on side 2 fails to reveal any metaphysical insights, yet is still pretty cool, with noted banjo master J.P. Pickens guesting. I forgot about the banjo. An enjoyable and historically significant album, housed in a nice cover, and since the original is still fairly affordable, go get one. An original Australian pressing also exists. So I guess this hasn't been repressed except for the Australian version. Last but not least, it's another 60s psychedelic. And this is a really trippy psychedelic album. It's the Tea Company. Come and have some tea with the Tea Company. Now this is a reissue that Deadwax 66 sent my way. He sent me years ago, when the VC was cool, There weren't all these audio files and people trying to brand themselves. He sent me a package, and I made a video of that. And I think it was entitled the best VC LT ever or something. And it was fantastic. Here's a picture of the guys. Pretty cool. And I forget what label this is on. I don't know, but it's a pretty cool label. Now, a few years after getting this, I'd say probably 3 years ago. So probably 3 years. I think he sent that like 6 or 7 years ago. I found an original on Smash Records. And I would say this is in really good shape, the cover. And the album is very good. It's in between Very Good Plus and Near Mint. This is a really, it's a kind of garagey, but it's definitely trippier than garage. And they do a version of You Keep Me Hanging On, the song that Vanilla Fudge, the Supremes had a hit with it. Vanilla Fudge did a great version of it. And, I'm not a fan of Vanilla Fudge, but I love that song, and I love their version of Shotgun. Other than that, I haven't really heard much Vanilla Fudge I like. But these guys don't sound like Vanilla Fudge. They are way trippier. And there's a long song, I think it's Flowers on side 2. But yeah, this is really cool. And I'm kind of interested to see what the Acid Archive says. Oh, and we got a picture in this one too. I don't know if you can see it. It's getting dark in here, man. I don't know if I should turn the light on, Maybe I should have had that on all the time. And let's see. I would think an original of this would be a 1. It doesn't even have a number. Yeah, it doesn't even have a number. So it's easier to find than even a 1. That's weird. Fronted by Frankie Carr. This album, I think they're from New York. Let me say that before I read this. Fronted by Frankie Carr, this album features a rather overindulgent set of self-penned period psychedelia. Be sure to check out the hysterical As I Have Seen You Upon the Wall. The lone non-original is a Vanilla Fudge-inspired cover of You Keep Me Hanging On. Unfortunately, as lead singer Carr isn't any great shakes. Moreover, burdened by dopey lyrics, Make Love Not War, and bland melodies, Love Could Make the World Go Round, none of the 8 originals proved particularly memorable. On the other hand, exemplified by tracks such as the 10-minute Flowers and Don't Make Waves, water sound effects, the band displayed an awesome affection for sound effects. Having missed the 60s, I can only report that T was supposedly a reference to dope. However, the plant shown on the cover is not marijuana. There are at least 2 bootleg reissues of the album, not listed here, which is odd since originals are easy to find, unless you want the UK pressing on Mercury. So I think I like it better than whoever wrote this up. What did he call it? Overindulgent. That it is, but I like 60s psych, and I like overindulgent 60s psych. So that's it. Part 2 of my Acid Archives. Breasts aren't a weapon. They've never taken a plane down.